In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Danitrio Densho fountain pen. I'll go over the specs, I'll do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about the pen coming up. Blake here with Blake's Broadcast. On this channel, I review fountain pens, paper, and ink, and as always, I put links in the show notes in the description below. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel. Alright, let's get on with the review. This is the Danitrio Densho fountain pen. This is a Japanese eyedropper made from ebonite painted with black urushi. Now this is one of the smallest eyedroppers that Danitrio made, and it's one of the smallest Japanese eyedroppers that have a ebonite body painted with urushi. I can't think of another brand that made a pen like this, at least a modern pen. So in this sense, it's special. Now, I'm saying it's one of the smallest, if not the smallest, Japanese eyedroppers in urushi. Well, this is a Mont Blanc 149, and you can see this is not a small pen. This is still an oversized pen. In fact, it's taller than the Mont Blanc 149 and maybe just a hair skinnier. So this is a big pen, but why I think it's so desirable, at least for me, is that this is a size that I can use every single day. Whereas if you think about the other urushi over ebonite eyedroppers coming out of Japan, well, right off the bat, you can basically eliminate all of Nakaya's pens, Platinum, Sailor, Takia, AP, Limited Edition, and most of the Namiki line. So where does that leave you? You get the Namiki Emperor, which is enormous, and then you get the Danitrio Genkai and the Danitrio Mikado, and those are both equally enormous to that Namiki Emperor. And they're huge pens, and they're thousands of dollars. It's just not an everyday pen. This is already, the Densho is already a very big pen. So if you have really large hands, the Namiki Emperor and those bigger Danitrios might be perfect for you. For me, they don't work. And I think for most people, they're gigantic pens. I mean, there's no way around it. This is already an oversized pen. Those pens are even bigger. So anyway, that is what really is appealing about this Densho model. Let's do a walkthrough of the pen. So again, the body is 100% ebonite. It's a hand-turned ebonite, and it's painted in a gloss black urushi lacquer. You can see it's kind of a torpedo shape. It has very subtle tapers at the end. The body tapers a bit once it gets to the cap. We have a gold-plated clip here that says Danitrio. This clip, it tarnishes more than any other clip that I can think of, maybe apart from sterling silver pens, but I am polishing this and I don't know why. Now, I have other Danitrio pens, but they all have painted clips, so you can't really so I don't know if that's a common thing or something special to this particular pen. At the back here there is a break because this is the blind cap. But anyway, it's painted with the artist's signature, which I think is a very nice detail, especially for a plain, black urushi pen. This doesn't have any super intricate painting on here. That would, the typical thing that would warrant, a signature on a Namiki or a Sailor or something like that. So if we take the cap off, we have this nice big grip section here and the beautiful Jowo T-nib, which is decorated with a T, which says Trio in the middle for Danitrio, and it's a 18 karat gold nib, and it's a medium, and it has a plastic feed. And this is a threaded nib unit, so you can replace it with other Jowo number 6 nibs. Danitrio uses high-grade nibs, so Bach and Jowo make a lot of nibs for a lot of companies. Danitrio always tries to buy the highest grade ones available. Now, the T-nibs were used on older pens, and they've since moved to Bach, so you can find Denshos with what's called the fireball nib, which this Takumi I have has. And you can see it's just kind of a different design. It's quite a intricate, quite a pretty decoration, that fireball nib, but they do write differently. The Danitrio number 6 nibs, the Jowo nibs, tend to be a bit stiffer, but they're really smooth. And the Bach nibs are quite soft. So it's a different writing experience. I like owning both the Jowo and the Bach Danitrio nibs because they do perform differently. So that is the nib. And then here we have the blind cap. So when you fill one of these pens, the section unscrews here. Come on. And you can kind of see the stopper in there. Anyway, you would use an eyedropper, or I use like a blunt tip syringe, and you put ink in here and you try not to fill it up too much. You don't want it to get anywhere near the threading, otherwise you're going to make a mess. The other thing about these eyedroppers is you need to use, you can probably see a little bit on here, a silicone grease to help seal the pen so that ink does not leak out. You know, when the silicone grease dries out or gets, worn out, you can get leaks from the section here without that. Now, once the pen is filled, to write with the pen, you want to open the back part here. This allows air into the pen, which will allow ink to flow out. You want to get about 2 millimeters open. If you open it too much, ink will just pour out the nib. And if it's too tight, you won't get any ink flow, or it will be very, very dry. Once ink has reached the nib, you can close it up if you want to, and you can write for a few paragraphs maybe. You don't want to leave it open for a really long time because it can dry out. That's just one of the annoying things about using an eyedropper like this. So that is the walkthrough of the pen. Let's do some measurements. 15 centimeters long, capped, and then uncapped, we're looking at 13.5 centimeters long. So it's quite a big pen. I do not post this pen. I mean, you can. It's just, I don't know. You're going to take the chance of wearing this painted signature off, scratching the urushi. It's just not really worth it. And it's a big enough pen, at least for me, that I don't need to post it ever. So at about the widest point, roughly, 15 millimeters, pretty wide. And the narrowest point in the section, right about there, 11.5, and at the wider point up top, right about 12.8. It's just, again, as a comparison to this 149. 149, you get actually a shorter section, but it's a bit fatter, and of course you do get a bigger nib. This feels more perfect in my hand than the 149, even though I do love this 149. 28.85 grams. That's not particularly heavy for a big pen like this. This has no ink in it, so this is empty. 15 grams uncapped. It's a very, ebonite is not a particularly heavy material. This is a super nice weight. It's super comfortable to write with for a long period of time. Okay, let's do the writing sample. So I've just filled this Takumi with Mont Blanc Irish Green ink. And let's see how we do this here. So I'm going to open this about 2 millimeters, and let's see if we can get this thing to write. Now, once you get it going and flowing, you won't have to do this again. It's just that anytime generally once you open this up to write with it, after you first get it going, after you fill it, it won't take long to start. But the initial one can take time, and there's a little bit of to play with here, so I'm making this a little bit wider. Nothing. Come on. Okay. Let's go wider. This is getting more dangerous. Come on. What do you want to write? Oh, okay. See, I opened it too much. I got too excited. That I knew it was too much, and so let's reel it back in. Okay, so that's... Oh, nope, hang on. Are you still gonna keep doing this? Yep, we're still ballooning out here. Okay. So, turn it back. How's that? Are we ballooning out here? Okay, so I think we're in good shape here. So, looking at this now, you can't almost see the gap, but that's maybe a millimeter here. And when I start writing with this more, I may have to adjust that. Really ruin this. Okay. Beautiful. All right. Well, let's try our writing sample now. So, normally I can make it write without it bleeding on the paper, but not today. So this is a Danitrio Densho, and this is a medium, and this is Mont Blanc. And I'll make this more straight for you. Irish green. Okay, so yeah, this is a nice smooth nib. Try some fast writing. Yeah, very good performance. We can try reverse writing. It's not the best at that. It's not particularly toothy or scratchy, but I don't know. You do get definitely a thinner line though. Yeah. Now, in terms of flexibility, there's not too much here. It's soft, but you're not really going to get a ton of line variation out of it. If you like a very soft nib, the Bach Danitrio nibs, they're all quite soft and much more, I won't call them flexible, but they are definitely much softer than your typical 18 karat gold nib. I've been using this pen for over 2 years now, and once you get it going, it's very reliable and it's a very enjoyable pen to use. Of course, when you're done, you have to make sure you close that so it doesn't dry out, and then when I go to use this again, I might be able to get a paragraph or so without opening this. That is the Danitrio Densho. So what are my pros and cons for the Danitrio Densho fountain pen? The biggest pro here is that you're getting a urushi lacquer over ebonite fountain pen that's an eyedropper in a size that is comfortable to use every day. That doesn't sound like a big deal, but any other pen, modern pen that I can think of with those features is enormous. Granted, this isn't a small pen, but the other ones are significantly bigger, number 8 size nibs and up. They're just not really an everyday pen, at least not for me, and I think not for most people. So this is a really nice package, and it's kind of unique for that reason. I also think that the build quality here is very nice. It has the artist's signature on the blind cap, which is, I think, a very nice touch for a pen that is, just an urushi lacquer pen. I also like the Jowo T nib, this two-tone 18 karat gold nib. It is a really nice writer. So what are my cons for the Densho fountain pen? Well, Danitrio doesn't make this pen anymore, so that makes it a little bit harder to buy. There's not always one for sale. It's not a super, super rare pen, but I don't feel like they made, tons and tons of these. I don't have a lot of data on the price. My guess is that these are would trade somewhere between $800 and $1,600. Now that is a pretty big range, and I'm kind of basing that off of how much these were when they were new and how much the most similar current production, Danitrio, the Takumi costs retail. So somewhere in that $800 to $1,600 range. So it's a very expensive pen. There's no getting around it. The other con here, for me anyway, is that it's an eyedropper. Now I know I said that was a pro, and it's a pro in the sense that this is a very traditional, old style Japanese pen, and because of that eyedropper system. But for everyday convenience and writing, eyedropper is just more of a headache, compared to a cartridge converter system or a piston filler. You have to remember to open the blind cap and close it so that it doesn't dry out or leak. You have to put silicone grease on the threading occasionally so it doesn't leak. Now, you do get more ink volume in the pen, which is great. So if you want to spend a long time journaling or writing notes or whatever, the eyedropper comes in handy there. The other con would be this gold clip. I don't know why this is, but this gold clip tarnishes really fast. I'm not really sure what's going on with the plating. So that is the Danitrio Densho fountain pen. Do you guys have this pen? Do you like this pen? Let me know in the comment section below. If you liked this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more fountain pen, paper, and ink videos, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much, and until next time.